miles? Fine. I drive a Ferrari 355 Cabriolet. What's up? I have a ridiculous house in the South Fork. I have every toy you can possibly imagine. And best of all, kids, I am liquid. So, now you know what's possible. Let me tell you what's required.
Kyle's back. He's back in a big way. I don't know if he's better than ever. I guess we'll figure that out. We
like
have
a tan, a little red, a little sun-kissed.
Oh, dude, I'm sunburned. I'm bloated. I got an ear infection and swimmer's ear. It's a true white boy summer here in the Crown Jewel.
Wow.
Yeah, but you got a little product in the hair. Like you got it.
No, this is straight water, dude.
You look good. Are you serious?
Water. Wow.
You're like boy band hot right now, though. You've got some NSYNC vibes to you. In the best possible way.
Too.
Yeah, you just need the frosted tips and be good to go. Did you
No,
frost the tips? I feel like Kyle
crazy.
Kyle,
yeah.
Kyle, yeah. You had to have frosted, right?
Well, I had a flip, like sort of not unlike this, and just the flip. So it wasn't like I wasn't a spiky hair guy, but I did do the flip, and the flip was definitely like peroxide bleached.
Yeah, a bouffant.
I remember I wanted to do it in middle school, and my mom was like, "No." She just straight up told me no, and honestly, I thanked her for that. 10, 15 years later,
you would have looked terrible with your dark features, olive skin. Not sure you would have been. The email address is lifeadvicerr@gmail.com. Okay, let's get to it. We have a couple family dynamic ones here. Hey, guys, first come in and comment on the guy ranking his buddies in a bachelor party. I'm only sharing this because I think it might help strengthen all the groups out, completely tear them apart. But either way, it's worthwhile. Our core group of guys, about 15, been doing this since 18. We have an annual golfing trip over a long weekend, and a member is drawn at random to do a pre-weekend. I was thinking workout pre-weekend outlook for another member in 3 categories: skills, drinking games, sports, ladies, etc. Okay, drinking, good hang or not, basically. Intangibles, nobody knows, but you know when you see it. Yeah, I can see that. I've attached an example of one I wrote for this past one. All rankings are between 1 and 5, with 5 being the best. This is predictably shared with the group beforehand in the weeks leading up to the weekend, so it's almost like a preview of the upcoming season. I like that. On the Sunday before we all meet at the local dive bar with an easel and a power rank. Everyone based on how they performed that weekend. Needless to say, the discussion is very spirited, and ultimately we crown one gentleman as the champion of the weekend with our annual trophy. Would love to see this incorporated throughout the country, or maybe everybody's already doing this related party. Everybody else is not doing this.
No,
I like it. You lost me at the trophy.
Yeah, once you cross over into like we're doing too much, it's like actually this was cool and it seems like the geekiest shit ever. Once you cross that line, and like you said, it's intangible. You don't exactly know where it is. But once the dudes around you figure it out, they're like, I'm out on actually all of it now, because this seems like for losers.
I'm not out on all of it. I like that part of it. Maybe I'm wrong.
I
agree,
I think when you cross the line.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, wait. That's not even the email. So 6'1", 210 with no significant gym stats. In the pickup game of Glenn Davis, but with significantly worse footwork. I'm looking for some of your surprisingly helpful and on-point advice. Thanks. Wife 34 and I 38, been married for almost 3 years, and everything is wonderful. We met several years ago while I was dating another girl, and unfortunately for all involved, except perhaps me at the time, I started dating both of them. Whoa. I ended the relationship with the other girl in 18 and began dating my wife exclusively in 19. Some serious overlap in there. After we were engaged in 21, my younger sister, 29, who I was very close with, reached out to the ex-girlfriend and had her text me with the intention of breaking up my wife and I. I won't go into any specifics, but it involved fake phone numbers and screenshots of scandalous fake text messages. It took some doing, but I was finally able to convince my wife that none of the messages were real and that I'd been faithful ever since we dated exclusively. The betrayal was shocking to me, as I thought my sister liked my fiancée wife and we all hung out regularly. I couldn't believe what she tried to do and immediately blocked her on everything and cut off all communication. This was in May of 21. So we're talking 3 years now. My sister's tried to reach out several times via new cell numbers and multiple email addresses in the years since, but I haven't responded and frankly haven't really wanted to. She's never apologized and only offered excuses as to why she did what she did. Perhaps I would consider opening the door to mending the relationship if there were apologies and remorse, but so far none of that has transpired. My question to you and the dream team is this: how long is too long to hold a grudge against a family member? Should I be more open to mending this relationship? Am I obnoxiously stubborn for wanting her to show more remorse? How would you handle a similar situation? My wife and I have agreed to follow the sage advice that is offered. Wow, that sucks, man. That's like a massive betrayal. I don't blame you at all for going. Like, think about that. Your sister is involved with your ex trying to frame you for cheating on your current wife to then break you guys up. Okay, nasty work by the sister here. I do not blame you for being really upset. And I usually default to like it's family, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But just to recap here, you get together with what your now wife, and the ex with your sister coordinates something that's so fucked. Like, be mad about the overlap, be mad you picked her, be mad about all those things. But when you're lying, okay, it'd be one thing if they were true, but if you're actually making these things up and your sister's helping this person, that's a tough betrayal to get over. I don't think it should be forever, but it sounds
It's
like
bad
you're
people
even
stuff. Like, you're a bad person if you do that.
It would suck. Did you find out just one of your siblings? You go, and it happens. I mean, bad people have to have brothers and sisters. But Kyle, let's go with you. Any betrayals?
You almost wish
you
that it
betrayed?
was like, I'm not a betrayer. Family's been pretty
Not
good
at
to
all.
me, no betrayals. But you almost wish there was like some sort of like drug problem or like something you could point to, like, all right, that's why you weren't yourself, undiagnosed, whatever. But it sounds like it's none of that. One of my best friends had this where his sister like just sided with the ex-girlfriend of, many years, and there's kids involved. It was like, he's like, I can't believe this. I really can't believe this. And it was like 4 years. And I think he was eventually just like, all right, sister, and it is what it is. And I think you forgive, you don't forget, sort of deal. But I felt sick to my stomach for him. Like, he really couldn't believe, like, you switch sides and like you're like testifying in court for it wasn't like a bad thing, just like, whatever it is when
They
they're
were
trying
in
to figure
court?
out. Well, it's like family court, custody stuff, and she was like on the mom's behalf, and he's like, "Wait a second, what the fuck?" So, I felt he was like sick to his stomach. I was sick to my stomach for him. But eventually, my whole thing was eventually he just was like, "How long can I really keep this up?" I think you keep it up as long as you feel like you want to keep it up. I think you're entitled to that, as long as you know it's probably not forever.
Yeah, I come from a big Italian family on both sides. My dad's one of 7. My mom's one of 5. There's a lot of hot-headed stuff that happens, but you just kind of like family parties sometimes are interesting. Depends on the moods of everybody. And, when alcohol is involved, it's always kind of complicated too. But
Anybody ever
we
shoot
kind of got,
anyone?
nobody's ever been shot. No, has not been shot, which
Well,
which
that's
is
good.
good. But, those things were like, hey, somebody so and so does this, and it kind of pisses everybody else off. And then, then you give it a couple months and it just kind of goes. Now, nothing has really been done to this extent. I mean, this is like straight up betrayal. Like, this is, again, I don't blame you for being this mad. The thing that bothers me is, like, I would get over it, but I need an apology. Like, I need you to acknowledge that you are at fault and you screwed up, and I still love you. And like, it was a moment of I don't know, I just had a lapse in judgment, and then here we are. But if she's unwilling to even admit that to you, I kind of think you stand your ground. I mean, I'm not advocating like don't talk to your sister forever, but that just sucks. Like, she clearly hasn't learned from the mistake. She really screwed you over. I mean, it could have actually ended your relationship with somebody that you really like. It just screwed your life over. So I don't think you're overreacting. I think you just have to have a talk to her and be like, I still love you. Like, I still want to be in your life. But if you're not going to apologize and take responsibility for what you did, then I don't know how we can see eye to eye on stuff.
Yeah, I think you wait until you're like one day, just like, this is silly, and you clearly don't feel that yet. So just keep on going. But one day, I think you'll look and be like, this is a little silly, right? The 6th Thanksgiving or whatever it is, like, you might just be like, I'm not going to let this have power over me anymore, and you'll just be changed for it. But until then, I think you're fine to just keep on doing what you're doing because you feel good about it. Otherwise, you can already tell she's not looking to like double back and say, like, you know what, I know I said all this shit, I was wrong, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to happen. It's like the excuse maker, and it's going to make you mad again, and you'll just get up. So I would just wait until you feel like this is silly, and you can just move on without really having her apologize, because it sounds like she's not gonna.
The thing that I think is most alarming is that your sister doesn't seem like she wants to apologize at all. Now, of course, with apologies, when you're wrong, it's not a blast, but you're better off for it. And at least you can have that as the foundation. That's usually where all of these disputes continue to go, because someone will say, and you never apologize the entire time. Just get the fuck out of the way. Right? Your apology won't mean as much in the beginning because you're just more upset that you did something wrong and you're being called out for it. But whenever you hear about any disagreements, like, think about the ones you've had in your life, replay them back in your head. And if you have that card of, and you've never apologized, so if you're the accused in this case, and you are the one who screwed up, because clearly your sister screwed up pretty bad here, just do it. What I can't believe, and what I would ask my sister in this case, is like, so did you think at some point, if my wife believed that these texts were coming from somebody else that I was involved with, and my marriage was destroyed, that's a win? That's what you were rooting for? That's what you wanted to have happen to your brother? Because clearly your sister has sided with the ex more so than you. Your ex has talked to your sister about the overlap thing, which, yeah, makes you look shady. And for whatever reason, your sister became like closer and felt sympathy for your ex-girlfriend more so about how damaging it would be. Because it sounds like, if you're willing to share all of this, like you shared it with your current wife. And sometimes the beginning of these relationships can be really complicated. They're not ideal, but it's fucking life. Like if you were dating two people at the same time and then you married one of them, yeah, all right, yeah, okay, like what's the perfect blueprint? Okay,
Yeah.
I waited 3 months before I kissed another person before I married my, you know what I mean? So like,
Yeah.
there's plenty of relationships and marriages that I know about that actually have these kind of weird starting points. Or a couple of my buddies that were just kind of seeing the person they ended up marrying, and that person was like, if you think that this is just going to be me in some sort of bullpen rotation, or it's like, hey, let's get a couple innings here and get him in there in the sixth, like that's just not going to work for me. And it was the wake up call that some of my friends needed, and they ended up marrying this person. So how it relates to you, I can understand you never wanting to get over this until she actually addresses what it is that she did. And it drives me crazy whenever I had disputes with somebody and I'll go like, yeah, okay, but think about the thing that you did and how that was trying to impact what was going on with me. And then there's the default of times of like, oh, well, let me now rationalize why I did all these shitty things to you. And he's just like, well, this isn't getting us anywhere. But you're right to Kyle's point that it's kind of your sister. Well, it's not kind of, it is in fact your sister. And that's not going anywhere anytime soon. And it sounds like you're more bothered by the discomfort of it because she hasn't owned up to everything that she was scheming to do. And again, based on the email, if she were just to step up at some point and apologize, it sounds like you would be willing to repair it. Now, long term, and this happens when you get older, and I'm experiencing it now, and your parents get older, and you have these things you're hanging on to, depending on what you went through when you grew up, and you're not thrilled about some of the stuff. I know that I'm personally kind of leaning towards everybody's getting older, and I want my relationship to be cool with everybody. And I can still be upset about some things, but like, what's the fucking point? Like, what's the point? And if you really want to extrapolate it out even further, this is not what our emailer's dealing with, but certainly some of the audience would be dealing with, is you have that grudge, you have that thing, you're fucking right. It's like, okay, so if this is the standard that you're holding this relationship to, that's a family member, like, how are you going to feel years from now if you get that call and you never fixed any of it? That person is no longer around. And I know, at least for me, that's going to be something where it's not going to feel great. So this is not the same thing. The timeline isn't close. I mean, your sister, it's her younger sister. The guy's emailing us. He's 38 years old. You don't have to worry about any of these things. But I do think there should be some kind of, like, there's a different grading scale on grudges with family members, that it sounds like the emailer actually wishes he could work this thing out with the sister. If he had said, I want to never talk to her again, I go, okay, fine. Like, that's a massive, nasty, just shitty betrayal. Like, let me mess up the rest of your life now because I became friends with your ex. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
But you
it
should
sounds
just go to her. You should just go to her and be like, yeah, like, look, do you ever want this to be cool again? Because it may not ever be the same, which is fine. But do you want it to be cool? Do you want it to be cordial? Like, who do you think needs to step up first? Okay. Now, if she's reaching out to you with new email addresses and new cell phone, like, doesn't that tell you that she wishes she could fix it? Do you want to tell her how she could fix it, or want her to figure that out on her own? Like, there's a lot of different steps with all this stuff, but I do think the standard should be like easily corrected, as opposed to just a guy from college. You're like, fuck this guy. I don't even see him anymore.
Right.
Oh, I used to work with this person. Fuck him. Oh, whatever.
Are there
This,
any
I think,
family members?
I think go ahead.
My thing would be like, are there any other family members that have weighed in on this? Mom, dad, do you have any other siblings that, like, what are, I don't know. Like, it feels like this solution is so easy, yet she doesn't know how to fix it. Or maybe she just doesn't want to fix it in the way that is the way to do it, the correct way to do it. But I don't know, man. Like, if she's actually trying to reconnect with you and just doesn't want to do the one thing that can do it. I don't know. Like I feel like that's kind of the bare minimum. Like you have to apologize, or we're just not going to be the same again. But I'd want to know, are there like, have your mom, dad waited and told her what she needs to do, and she still refuses to do it? Because then I'd hold your ground even more. Like if other people are like, hey, this is what you got to do, and she just still refuses. If she's just totally clueless and just is sad and doesn't really get it, then all right, yeah, maybe help her out a little bit and just, kind of bring her back into the fold. But I can't imagine that's the case.
My guess would be mom, dad, grandma, Uncle Johnny. They all wanted to go away rather than like get into the minutia. That's what I would think. So everyone wants it to be gone. So I think you just get to the point where you're like, you got to lower your expectations for some people. And maybe you just have to treat her like an alcoholic uncle. You're like, you know what? I'm going to move past this, and we'll hope none of this shit happens again. Get prepared for $25 Barnes & Noble gift cards for Christmas while everybody gets shit I actually thought about. And just small little how you doing, whatever. And you'll move on from there. And maybe you can grow that relationship. But until then, I think just keep your distance, man. Forgive, don't forget.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Another family dynamic. Do I have to go to my brother's bachelor party?
Yes.
Gents, 5'10", 215 pounds, former high school long snapper. I need an unbiased opinion to the following situation. Kyle just jumps right in with a yes. Kyle, was I invited to your bachelor party?
I didn't want you to say no, so nobody. I had 100% hit rate on my ask, so I was like, why do this to myself?
Did you ask Bill?
No, fuck no. I mean, I gotta like. I think you could deal with what you would have seen and maybe move past it. I'm not sure if Bill could have. So
I don't think Bill could have. I mean, look, based on what we were allowed to hear about it, I'm not sure I would have loved it. But
I could have seen him like making content like, it's 9 a.m. day 1. One guy just got slapped. I don't know. Nephew Kyle's on his 3rd cigarette. Like, I didn't need that type of shit. So I was.
Are you doing a Bill right now, or are you doing a Ryan?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm doing like Tate doing Sal doing Bill, and it's lost in the sauce. So.
You're right. I can see Bill being like over under 20 and a half Stellas today. What are we thinking?
Yeah,
boys?
Cigarettes, all the stuff. I mean,
taking lines. Yep.
He probably would have left.
I gotta be honest with
early
you. That was a good Bill.
Shit.
That was a really good Bill. Because I just thought it sounded like him. I didn't know you had that in you. I was not familiar with your game. Okay, so let's get back to the bachelor party. Kyle jumping with an immediate yes. I'm leaning hard yes. If you just are asking me to respond to you imagine Cerruti, 3 yeses?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, let's explore. My brother's having a bachelor party in California to go on a, quote, psychedelic backpacking trip. Still 3 yeses?
Yes, but
all right. Yeah.
Still yes.
Tepid?
Cerruti's on the fence. I'm still yes.
All right, let's keep digging into the plan. The plan is to hike up Friday, camp, and hike back Sunday. The hike is 14 miles each way. Still 3 yeses?
God damn it. You might want to just injure yourself, dude. Just take one for the team.
All right.
Is there a base camp you could just
pay
hang
for
out
some
at
dude's
while everybody does stuff? Yeah.
Pay for some dude's x-rays and be like, I broke my fucking leg, man.
Can I take the cart back to the clubhouse and see you guys at the turn? The hike is 14 miles, requires hiking and camping supplies that I do not have nor ever want to have. On top of that, I do not want to trip on shrooms in the mountains in a tent. It should be noted I hate hiking. My idea of hiking is staying at the Holiday Inn because there are no Marriotts around. Good joke. And we aren't even talking. There's always a La Quinta around. We aren't even talking about a campground. This is the middle of nowhere ship. No running water, no toilets, no showers. The most recent entry from an online trail guide says a challenging last 1.5 miles to the lake. I love that that's after 12 and a half miles. There is steep terrain, disappearing trail with mosquitoes present, and caution is advised when crossing the river. Apparently, I also have to forge a river like the friggin' Oregon Trail. And to top it off, because of the remote location of the trip, the logistics require me to catch a red eye home Sunday night, or I have to go to work Monday morning. Being the brother, or am I required to go, or can I graciously bow out because I will be clearly holding back the group's vibe, who, for the most part, all want to do this trip? A few important pieces of information that need to be considered. My brother's a few years younger than me, is my only sibling. He recently potentially set the Guinness World Record for most burpees in 3 minutes. Well, we'll leave out maybe a little late on the Right. We'll just the entire group is doing an ultra marathon for fun this summer. Avid rock climbers. I'm talking about Mission Impossible style scaling a cliff during the day, pitch a tent on the side of the mountain to sleep, and then climb up the summit the following day type of climbers. I got to be honest with you, the sleeping on the side of the mountain, a lot of you guys are just doing it to do it, right? Or is the mountain
Is that the
scaling
best
take
place?
so long? Yeah.
Really the best place?
I guess there has to be like some places where you go, I'm not going to be able to scale this thing in an entire day. I'm sure those things exist. And then you think, okay, I'm going to sleep here. But I'm sure you're harnessed into it somewhat. So it's not like, hey, what if I roll over to the side to check
Talk
my
about
phone?
night, dude. It's like, am
Yeah.
I waking
Like,
up
oh,
falling
wait.
or is that a dream?
All the credit to you guys sleeping in a canopy on the side of a fucking rock face because you're a badass. I like to do some stuff. I don't think I'll ever do that. I'm a 39-year-old father of 3 from the Midwest whose physical activity for the week consists of downing a 6-pack or a few bourbons if I'm feeling frisky and playing in my golf league. The closest hospital to the trail is 2 hours away and looks to be about the size of my house.
Mapping out hospitals. Yeah, you're out.
This is
You're
such
out.
a no. This is
You're
such
out.
a no.
You're out and lie soft. I would lie. I'd say I really just hurt
All right.
myself or
I tell
whatever.
the
I would
truth.
No,
lie.
you don't lie. You don't lie. You
I
don't
would
lie.
lie.
They don't want you to go, by the way.
They don't
Yeah.
want you
These
to go.
guys, if this is what they're all about, they actually don't want you to go.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
This
a
is
win-win.
a crazy ask. So at the beginning, when it's 3 yeses, do I go to my brother's bachelor party? Yes, you do. Is it all these things I don't want to do with extreme physical tests that I am not ready for? And I'm not into psychedelics. And all these guys are super into all of this stuff. You know, don't invite the guy to the orgy that doesn't want to be at the orgy. Like that guy doesn't find a way to also like go, hey, I'm feeling I'm going to hang over here for a little bit. Like those guys walk into an orgy like ready. They know what's on the table.
Yeah. Well,
This doesn't make any sense.
Did they ask? So clearly,
You're
I don't
not the
wanna
best
say it.
man, right? Because you didn't plan the bachelor party. So they've already
Well-
kind of got it covered.
Well,
Probably.
maybe the groom did. Maybe he planned it. This is what he wants to do, and all his buddies do this. But do they know they can't do this? Like, or do they think you're capable of doing this? If they think you're capable of doing this, and they are actual like not experts, but they know the field, then I don't know. Kind of like not a hard no.
What
but-
about that red eye though?
Dude.
Well, the red eye is at least in my concern. I mean, I don't know.
Is
It's
it?
not a one-day
It's gonna be
hike.
a
If
huge
they were
concern
coming
when it's
back to the
happening.
hotel, that's one thing, or the cabin or the lodge or whatever is up there near those rock faces. If they were like, we got one hike, we're gonna do this trail this day, we're gonna do trail 3 the other day, and whatever, and you're like, yeah, I'll hang back or whatever. Because this is like a continuous journey. I think you can be out, and if you think your brother knows you're not the guy, tell him. But I
That's what I'm
could maybe just be like, dude, you won't believe what I just did to my ankle. You won't believe it.
No,
I'm
that's
so
what I'm saying.
mad.
Be like, hey, dude, I'm like
Wish I
really
could
nervous
go.
about this. I don't think I'm physically capable of doing this. Like, I love you, but this clearly is your thing, not my thing. I don't want to hold you. I would just have that. Tell them everything you said in the email. I think that's
Yeah,
totally
that's probably
fair.
fine.
You might not physically be. I don't know if I would be able to physically do any of this stuff. I certainly wouldn't want to. And then you had the drug stuff in there, and I'm definitely out. But I think you got to just talk to
Nice.
him, like, and just say, hey, I'm not. I mean to make this like a dare situation, but I think you just got to talk to him. You can't lie to him.
Alrighty,
Don't
buddy.
lie to him. Don't cop out. Be a man. Say, hey, man, I don't think you want me to be there. I love you. We'll do something on our own. Maybe we'll just do like a bro trip to Jamaica, just the two of us, drink for a weekend and come back if you want to do that. But I don't
Double
think I could
bachelor.
physically do this. I'd feel
Not a
out of
drug guy,
place,
though.
and I don't want to hold you guys back. So that's what I would do. Not a drug guy. Yep.
So it's 3 no's.
3 no's.
Yeah, that
Three
was a
no's.
hard turn.
It's good to be able to change your. It really is.
I don't think they want you there.
It's just
be
like
honest with
he
you.
can't not ask you, right? It would be he has to ask you. So yeah, maybe this is just a win-win, and everyone can exhale like, "Whew, I'm not going." He's like, "Whew, you're not going." So that's what it's stacking up to be, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're a little dismissive of that return flight because I think at 39 and 3 kids, maybe you're just not there yet. So that red eye would be hanging over him mentally. He's
Well,
like
I'm not saying it's
pre-hungover. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
But if I'm hiking, mountain climbing, and doing drugs for a weekend, and then I have to take a red eye, the red eye is my concern.
But that red eye is going to suck so bad. It's going to. I don't think there's something that is more flawed than the human pattern of predicting how they'll feel on return flights that are booked. And people
Yeah, I don't have
tend
that
and be
yet.
like, oh, that might be a little inconvenient, or that might not be great. Like when I left Italy once, I was like, okay, so I have to go back through Dublin. I'm like, you know what I'll do? Let's look at what the options are. I go 23 hours in Dublin, a layover. That's perfect. I think it ended up being on my birthday. I'm like, this is going to be awesome. When I landed in Dublin, I was so fucking pissed at myself. I was like, when did you think this was going to be a good idea? Like, you left Italy, you were there, like, get out of town. And what are you doing? Like, this is the worst. This is absolutely the worst idea ever. Why did you do this? And then they wouldn't let me get my bag because it was technically a 23-hour layover and it wasn't like a stop. So I had to go buy like toiletries. I just stayed in the same clothes. Yeah. I walked around and checked out the University of Dublin. That's not what it's called, but it was gorgeous. Is it Trinity? I think it's Trinity. So I made the most of it. It was fine. And it had a good time and checking out the music and all that kind of thing. So I made the most of it. But when you're actually like kind of going home, but then you're not going home, I have something coming up where I just look the return and go, okay, 5-hour layover in Amsterdam. I know what dudes are saying, but 5 hours.
Plenty of time. Yeah.
Like, who do you think you are? All right. Okay. That'll do it for the pod. Thanks to Kyle. Thanks to Steve. Thanks to Wargon. Check out our YouTube page as well. Ryen Russillo Podcast, right here, Spotify.